Everybody got their phones turned off, turned down? We'll open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stand on the roll call, please.
Martyr.
Here.
Mazer. Here. Schneider.
Here.
Sofa.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Wilson. Zimmer.
Here.
First up, non-agenda items from the sidelines, public comment. Ms. Line, if you'd like to get up and speak.
I'm just wondering what, I was discussing with Mr. Weaver of the flooding issue over there, and you had addressed that there was an issue, and I was just wondering what was going on with that.
So now where are we talking about?
Boardman and Henderson. I sent Mr. Weaver lots of pictures, and he has said
I
that
brought
there is
those
an
pictures
issue.
in with looking east, west, right off of Henderson, north of Henderson, and Potter Street actually, right?
No, she's on
I'm on the corner
she's on
of
the west
Henderson.
side of Henderson, but on the south side of Boardman.
Right across from the Memphis Free Methodist Church.
Right
You
corner,
guys
Henderson
stated
and
that there
Boardman.
was an issue there,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
and I was just wondering what's going on, and when is it gonna get started, or?
The last, I think, and that I communicated you with is, the best that I can project is we're having that piece of Bell River done eventually, because obviously that's gotta get tied in to a sewer. And I walked the whole neighborhood, and it looks like a ditch was filled in there at one point in time.
Yeah, it's
and
where
where the
Steve-
telephone poles are, and
Yep.
the lines are running through. So we have that issue to contend with, which we could either go ahead and see if we can do something with that, or we could get the engineer, because it will involve, as I think I told you, it's gonna involve some engineering, because we're gonna have to get the grades right. But as you know, and I've talked with you, I think it would be a very great thing to improve that drainage for all three of those properties, and the VFW wall also. That would make their lot a whole lot better too, because that backs up all the way into that lot. So that's where we left it. Now it's just next steps. You know, as I told you, I couldn't tell you the exact time that particular phase is coming into operation. Maybe somebody there has some more information on that stage of the.
I believe you had told me that it was the next, this area was next to be worked on.
Well, it's, yeah, I won't swear that. I know some that we got a couple different, I mean, three different.
I believe it's gonna
projects.
go, the third phase would be, I think, the Henderson Street, Larry, if I'm not mistaken.
Right now it's the Henderson Street, and
Yeah.
we're not even in the hopper.
And we're not even in the
yet,
hopper for money,
For
so.
that, and then the final phase would be from there to the, the.
City limits.
Yeah, city limits.
And at the present time, these properties are all private property, correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
So we have somebody that decided to fill in a ditch, which created a dam that's causing flooding in the yards along there.
yeah, and the problem is a lot of the properties are low to start with, like the Legion.
Yeah, it's one of them.
That's one of them. That's definitely lowlands in there. As far as, you know, we entertain seeking easements to maybe open a pit or something to the east side of the Legion Hall and taking that water to the west. But,
I had a
Yeah,
short
right,
idea
right,
that I
Yeah,
had
or something
to,
like that, but,
then you'd have liability issues and.
right now, so the thing is, here's the, issue is that it's all private property right now. And, Steve talking about, in the future, it's like, getting into engineering and all that, there's a lot of costs involved with
Well,
it.
it still wasn't clear that that where the telephone poles is the right of way. So that technically,
It's a utility
I mean, it's private
for
property, but
DTE.
if somebody has jurisdiction over that right of way.
DTE.
Yeah.
It's
that's
supposed to be DTE.
That's where the ditch is filled in. You can see the top of the culvert just barely
There's nothing else
visible
under there, right?
on the one side, and then it, or to the
DTE.
east. So you can see that that's filled up, but then that next stretch between there and Bell River is where there's two lots that, have been filled up there. That's where I was thinking maybe, I asked Bart about, there's a manhole cover there. We had that portion cleaned out. It could drain right in there, but I'm still not sure if he said that connected to the Bell River. Or maybe that's what he told me, eventually it would be, where we're gonna be having an outlet from that manhole cover out to Belleville when they do
yeah,
that
well-
section?
That's what we were talking, to take them to Boardman Road. Again, not knowing what that elevation will be,
Right,
that would,
they'll have to be
of course,
surveyed.
we have to seek easements or such, or if you want to drain your backyard, pass a cost and say, hey, I'll pay for it to have it done. I really think that some of that, the city needs to get easements on and
Well, I had a shed
Do
back
it,
there,
but
and
it
I
won't-
had to
it won't
get rid
be-
of my shed because it rotted my shed.
yeah.
When's the last time that drain was cleared out?
Good question.
Is it on your
It's never
property
been
or-
done since I've been there.
Is it on your property or your neighbor's?
It's between, just past my
One
fence.
end of the culvert
I
comes.
saw where the fence was, but it doesn't mean that's where the
Are
property
you
line
talking,
is.
I understand that,
Okay.
yeah, the culvert goes across the street.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one end is on, Lynn's, right?
Or
Your name, I'm sorry.
Joni,
Joe.
Joni,
Joni, excuse me, Joni. Yeah, what the culvert, one side is kind of like the back where her fence is, where that, her shed was. Then it crosses the street over to where this problem area is with the telephone poles and the ditches go in.
it's just getting to the point now where it's getting closer and closer to my house. Am I supposed to get flood insurance? You know, I don't know. But we'd like to put another shed back out there. I'm moving back from Florida, back to Michigan to my house. And we
Yeah, you
need
said
to
you're
put
gonna
a
move
shed
back,
back.
I guess.
Pardon me?
You were gonna move back into town?
I am.
Yeah.
My husband is still there, but I'm now here. And we wanna put a shed back there, and we can't put a shed, there's no place to put it without it flooding again.
Well,
I mean, we've seen it come, I've showed you pictures where it's almost at my back
I
door.
passed them around.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's just, it's ridiculous. There's
Joey,
no
nothing's
excuse for
gonna
that.
happen overnight, and the only thing was, you're talking about a shed, is get some 6x6s and put it higher, I did that in Richmond.
Well,
My
somebody-
backyard was underwater all the time, Richmond didn't come running to me and say, hey, I'll fix that for you.
Well, somebody told me to bring in dirt, that it's my
So-
responsibility to bring dirt in.
For
I can bring the dirt
clarification
in,
here,
but you're gonna have a bigger problem when I'm that dirt's there, because that water's gonna go somewhere else now. So,
so for
I guess it's your
clarification here
decision.
though, Ms. Lang, the properties that are all involved are not city properties, it's all private property. And that's something that I think maybe could be worked on with the neighbors to see about, you know, clearing it or creating a ditch, and it's one of those, if you can work with the neighbors and the city, maybe we can start to open up the drain again.
I've been trying to work with the city, if the city doesn't
No,
seem
no,
to
no, no,
want to
I'm
work with
saying you
me.
have to work with your neighbors,
Correct.
because
There's
it's all
one
private
section.
property.
Let me
So-
interrupt for
The
just a
person
second.
behind me, there's nobody.
There's
living there.
one, the middle home, we cleared that, again, it's only a ditch, and that was quite a few years ago, and the owner at that time has since passed on. But we had that opened up, and again, it's a ditch, they slowly
They fill
fill
it.
in.
So I guess it's one of those, if we get permission from all the property owners, I mean, where we could go in and
I had to
open it up and
use,
create a ditch again.
I had to get a mini excavator, and as I say, it's tight quarters and.
Okay.
I know the
and
neighbors that
then
I've
we didn't
talked
have
to
enough
said,
fall
yeah, go in there
to
and do
bury
it.
it to,
Nobody wants to do it.
Right,
you know, to meet, take point A to point B and enclose it with some,
gotta have slope to
manhole
do
and
it.
such, you gotta have the correct fall to do that, and it isn't there,
right.
you know.
Cause it
So-
goes like this, it goes from her house down and then goes up as it goes
Well,
down Bell River Road.
yeah, it's nothing consistent,
Right.
Well, that's what shooting it with a regular transit would tell you, the story on that.
Yeah.
That-
which I
they
think
have
I've done
Yeah.
that years
Or
ago.
eyeball
This has
that.
been an issue, when I first started here, it was an issue, 92, so,
Right.
Yeah, I was hoping we could
never
And
went
we
away.
solve it this time around.
And
though.
we've had a very wet winter with a lot of rainfall, so.
Oh, some,
So, well, Ms. Lyons, so you know we have it on our radar, okay?
Yeah,
And-
it's just, like he said, it's been going on since 92. And this is
oh, it's been
24.
going on before 92, I
Right.
started in 92, so,
Right.
yeah,
So,
it's just
I mean,
something
if you
that,
guys know this is an issue,
Well, it's
Something
generally
should be
because it's a
done.
private property matter. It's
right,
not-
but
it's
all the
not
neighbors
city.
around have said,
But
come
it's
on
all
my
their
property and
private
fix
But
it.
it's all their properties are involved in
I
this, not
understand that,
city
but they're also
property.
saying, get on my property and fix the problem,
we
because
just
we
can't
don't
go
want the
on your
flooding.
property legally, it's just, we'd have to take, and get not just a temporary, but a permanent easement to do that. Yeah.
Does it apply to
Because the
ditches
city
like
can't
right
do
next
work
to
on
the
my
road?
property, it wouldn't be right, the taxpayer shouldn't pay for him to do work on my property.
Yeah, let's get my driveway graded too, while you're at it.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
You know, unfortunately, yeah, this falls under a civil matter, and with the neighbors working together, if you've got an issue with the drainage and whatnot on several pieces of property, that you would have to work together on resolving the issue. The city would be willing to work with you, but engineering and figuring out where it's gonna go, again, it's everybody's yard, it's not ours. I mean, it's not the city property. So,
Well, until Boardman's done, this is,
Yeah,
I don't see anything happening other than Band-Aids.
to go that direction unless the property owner wants to donate a large section so we can put a detention pond in and fence it all up, and so it's not a liability. I can't picture anybody wanting to put one in their backyard.
Nobody over there.
Not the size of the yards are anyways.
I'm sorry, that's probably not what you wanted to hear.
No.
Just one quick question for Part like our ditches, this is for my education, that run right alongside the road, are we responsible for those, like the one going down in
They
front of my house?
are,
Is that in the
yeah,
right of way,
running
actually?
parallel with the streets and such.
Yeah, but we're
Yeah,
talking.
that's within the
between-
right of way, and it is cities. In
Okay,
this case
alright.
here, they're running through properties which
Right.
we never ascertained easements
So
of.
those two lots, or I guess point parts maybe are in between the ditches that the city would actually have control over.
Yeah,
If I'm understanding. it
Yes,
right.
yes.
And Bart's, another place Bart has a little jurisdiction is that the culvert that goes under the road,
Right.
you know, to make sure it drains out her property, but it might be draining her property and backing right back
Well,
up.
that's what's
Not
happening
even
because the
that.
elevations.
They're
and-
finding the elevation between the two, so even cleaning that isn't gonna solve the problem.
No, I got it a little better, again, a few years back, but it didn't 100% cure it. And it depends on the rainfall and snowfall and things
So you
like
get
that.
tired of it.
You know, if the tires to it. But, yeah.
Just gotta go somewhere.
But a quick solution would be, boy, if somebody wanted a pit dug and they were willing to give up the land and,
Maybe the
with a little
DFW
bit of
would open
engineering,
it
I
up.
could make it go away real fast.
They got
I don't
that.
see anybody,
No.
what, no.
A retention pond.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Guess you're bringing the dirt off, put the rest of the paper out, I don't care.
Okay, if we have no more comments on that, yeah, comments from city administration. Bart?
You burnt me out already. I think we're gonna be discussing it a little bit down the road here.
We got new fire contracts out to the townships for their approval. So far, I haven't heard anything back from any of the three, either good or bad, so,
Is that with the 3%?
yes. At our last fire committee meeting, we had some discussions on staffing for the fire department. Unfortunately, the fire department isn't like the days of old where we have a lot of people who work in town that are also on the department. Right now, I got 13 on the department. Most weekdays, 12 of those people wake up and leave town. That leaves me to be the fire department. I'm not gonna do this forever. And with our medical license, we're required to respond 24/7 for medical calls. So we as a department and city administration have to start thinking about what we want to do in the future to cover us during the daytime. Whether it's hiring someone or public safety, but we need to start thinking about this. Most of our departments around us have staffing during the day.
Like how many would they have to have? How many would you have to?
One.
One?
Yeah,
Like
Because-
a 9 to 5 type of thing?
9 to 5 type of thing. Because medical calls, you only need one to respond to those. Any other calls, you can call for mutual aid from other departments to get more manpower. But something that we need to think about for the future here, the not too distant future.
And whoever that 9 to 5 person is has to be medically,
Medically
Yeah,
licensed,
be licensed.
yes.
But they can get all those licenses, right?
Yeah, that's
It
easy.
could be anyone that wants
Right.
to apply.
And in all honesty, I don't think there's anyone on the department right now that would want that job. They all got better jobs. So we'd probably be looking for someone outside our current membership.
Would you be able to, you know that,
retiree.
in your budget where you have the part-time person come in there so many hours a week?
That
Do
would
you have
cover,
that anymore? Would that,
we have some of that. I took a lot of that money away that we were spending and put it elsewhere where it was needed.
oh, okay, I was gonna say, cause that would be like
Mostly
a quarter
equipment
of it.
replacement fund, but, yeah. Something to think about. I need to get the bug in your ear to be thinking about this.
Plus the townships.
Yeah.
That's gonna be hard.
Some, like a retired firefighter drawing their pension that wants a little
Yeah,
side job.
that's what Berlin has right now. That's,
How retired you want?
Yeah.
As retired as that.
He's still a young man.
I do not want the job, trust me.
Well, chief, in your position as chief,
Yeah.
how are you getting paid? I mean, is it by the call?
By the
Like,
call.
You're sitting here, only guy in town all day.
Yeah, it's
Well,
kind
you're here
of,
at
it's
the
kind of
fire
like
station.
being a
How's that work for
prisoner.
you now?
It's like being a prisoner to town, because I'm afraid to leave because we might get a call that no one answers.
So you're not on the clock technically, but you're staying in case you get a call?
Yeah. I'm
24/7,
I'm in the-
right?
Yeah, I'm in the area.
Okay.
By resolution, he could technically bill for the part-time hours, he just doesn't, he puts the
Right,
money
yeah.
elsewhere. So we have it in place for somebody to be paid while they're there, as long as they're doing work, you know, related to the fire department.
So actually being,
But we have done
He
in the
hasn't
past.
been doing that because he's just figured that
When
money's
that,
better
what
used
that
elsewhere.
24 hours was all about?
Well, yeah, that was
Yeah.
29 hours.
Was
that
29,
was
whatever it was.
approved back years ago.
Mhm.
That was used and.
Yeah,
I mean, he could be billing for that, he just doesn't.
right. That's
So-
it.
Why don't we just start recruiting to hire someone? I guess I'm not sure what the issue is.
No, I think he's got a little more involved in that.
Well, because it'd be a full-time position.
Yeah,
And it'd be-
So, we don't have many of those for the city, you know, we only have the few.
Right.
That comes with, benefits and all that other stuff.
It's not
We
required
just-
by the ACA.
We have to run, we're basically creating a position, so there's a little more to it than just
Yeah, and.
now hiring, you know?
I mean, trust me, I fully understand that, that's my everyday day job, but the city is not required to comply with the ACA, because there's less than 50 people who work in the city, so we're not required to provide benefits. We can offer it as a fringe benefit, but it's not a requirement. And I don't understand what red tape there would be if
But
we
you
have,
got, you also
if we
have
have
to have
29
people
hours
that even
allotted
want the
to it.
position.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying,
yeah, our
like, why
our
wait?
two biggest issues right now would be budget, because there's not enough in the budget to
No.
cover a 40-hour week.
Well, if we have 29
finding-
hours allotted, why don't we hire for the 29
Well,
hours?
we had 29, but I kind of took some of that money to go for help with our equipment replacement.
And he's like, the chief says, budget's the primary reason. And the budget incorporates not only the city, but 3 townships.
I
And they
understand.
also have to be on board with that, because we do not have the wherewithal, revenue, from the revenue side, to finance it ourselves. And so we have to incorporate the townships into the cost as well. And I think that's what the chief's referring to, that's not easy.
No.
No, it's-
Based
What
on-
part, what part of the budget did you apply that to? I mean, is that money that's already allocated, so it's not
No,
useful
it's
funds?
part of it's just part of the expense side
Yeah.
and of the budget. It comes out of general fund. And so, and our general fund is being helped now, of course, due to the revenue from the marijuana, but just as I left something to Eric just a few minutes ago, even though we got a little more money than we budgeted, with the expense, or the revenue, or expenses that's coming in, that's gonna eat all that up. So, it's difficult, and we're not unique. All cities are running the same thing, especially the townships. trying to get enough revenue to cover everything that's going on, cover expenses. And expenses, as you know, with the inflation factor is, in the last 3 or 4 years has been quite extreme. And we know that from a personal standpoint. So it's not, we just automatically just can't go ahead and do this. It has to be.
And it isn't just the city of Memphis, again, you have to get an increase, which is hard enough to increase it from year to year, or every 3 years, whatever it may be.
So,
It's hard to get that passed.
I mean, my thinking is it a priority? If it's a priority, then why don't we make it a priority? I feel like I'm not arguing with what you're saying, Larry. I totally understand budgeting and I get all that, but we have to decide if it's a priority. If it's a priority, then we need to figure out a way to make it happen.
well, definitely it's a priority. I can't dispute Doug on that's for sure, but you.
So something that's less of a priority could be cut.
But there's two sides to this, and you gotta look at you can't spend more than you get. You gotta keep it within the limits of your revenue. And I know, and the townships definitely would have to be incorporated in this and have to be on board.
Is it common for townships to pay for the city employees? Like as part of their contracts? Is that what you guys like to refer
They help
to?
with the overall budget.
They pay a contract cost which funds our budget, so.
Right, so that 3% would potentially increase based on needing to,
It would be more than 3, yeah.
it would be more than 3%, right? So if they sign these contracts now, unless we ask for an amendment, we're stuck with these contracts for 2 years, I think you said?
Yeah, 2 years.
So we have at least 2 years before we can ask for more money from,
And remember that 3% increase that we're
what's
getting
for, yeah.
is going completely into
So
equipment
equipment
replacement,
Yeah,
just,
don't expect.
To fund that.
If it was 6, all 6 would go there.
right.
It's, yeah.
Steve, to answer your question though, we have a line item in our budget for wages, and there is another line item for capital expenses, for purchasing items. Previous to me becoming chief, that line item for capital expenditures was at 0. So I took some of the wage money to put down into that item so that we weren't taking from equipment replacement all the time.
Yeah, because.
It's kind of a vicious circle.
Right, well, certain things should be under capital, as you say, and you're right, if we had expenses that we had to buy something, or we took it out of equipment replacement, you're absolutely right. And we should have been under the other line item.
Doug, what happens if you retire?
That's why I'm bringing this.
No, I'm saying, like, so what happens?
The members of the
I'm going
department
on
have to vote in a new
63,
chief.
so
I know, that's what I'm saying, like, what happens?
if things were
There will be no
how they
department.
are right now, we would probably lose our medical license because we'll miss too many calls.
And medical brings in a lot of runs, right?
Yeah,
It's a majority, isn't it?
yeah, that's 80% of our runs.
I mean, the only other way to fund it, and the only other an easy way to fund it, if you can get it past the voters, try to get a millage past the voters.
I mean,
And they could be more well-funded as that's what the police department did in order to hire 2 full-time police officers. They requested a millage be put on the ballot, and the voters approved it, because the people are paying for it. You
But
know,
then you
so-
got
They're paying for
three
the-
townships that you're gonna have to share that with, so they're
Well,
gonna
that
have
would
to.
be rolled into the budget in 2 years later, but you could get a millage pass that goes to the fire department, and they could be budgeted.
But I'm sure that all the residents of town here do not wanna fund a person that
Right.
doesn't just take care of it.
No, they didn't want to
Yeah.
fund 2 full-time police officers.
Well, no,
either, but
exactly.
Enough of them did to pass the millage.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I think we've beaten the bushes enough on this, let's go on, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the info, Doug. Something for us to, not kick the can down the road and send to make a move on those.
I totally agree. I think they should try to figure it out.
Amendment of the agenda.
I have 2 amendments to the agenda. One under unfinished business, number 3, we're putting the VC3 domain for the city of Memphis.
What's that called, I'm sorry?
VC3 domain, it has to do with web addresses, web domains. And then we're gonna add, under communications, number 3, Nancy Thompson from the Lions Club regarding a shed. And that's it.
I have a couple too.
All right, can I get a motion
He
to,
said he's got a
Oh,
couple
please.
too.
Under unfinished business, if you could add, that would be number 4 now. We talked about last month's meeting, we had an advisory committee meeting regarding parking on the streets and the code enforcement.
Code
officer.
enforcement?
Yeah,
Yeah.
wanted some feedback, so if we could just take a second and discuss that again real quick and see where we're at with that, just so I didn't want to drop off the radar, because we said we were gonna revisit that. And I guess under communications, number 3, I got a quick communication from the Memphis Meadows project too, which
So
is.
that'd be number 4.
Okay, number 4, I'm sorry. Communications from
Memphis?
Memphis Meadows, their developer, the building, that guy.
Then we have communications put on file for that. Yep.
Yeah, it's just a text message, it's gonna be verbal, it's pretty simple. I mean, I can print one out, it's down and out.
All right,
I'll
well,
make a
then,
motion, we adopt the budget as amended.
So moved.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yeah.
Martyr.
yes. All right, approval of the regular meeting minutes from February 6, 2024. If there are any corrections, I'll take a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of February 6th, 2024.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer.
Yes.
All right, presentation and approval of the February disbursements of $243,631.83 and the electronic wire transfers of $11,896.91. Can I get a motion to pay the bill?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we approve the February disbursements of $243,631.83 and the electronic wire transfers of $11,896.91.
Support.
Sofa,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr,
Yeah.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
All right, next up, communications. Can I get a motion to place the communications on file, please?
So moved.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa.
Yes. All right, first up, Tammy Rawlings and Linda Lavery, in regards to a grant for a water park. We haven't received anything on this, do you guys have?
We have that.
You should have something.
I have this, you can share.
Oh, yeah, okay,
And
okay,
you can maybe share with him.
okay,
Yes, I'm talking.
He's got it there.
I'm sorry.
We,
Is there any for those?
Ladies, if you want to talk, you want to stand up
Yes,
first,
all right.
please. so we can-
This is very, very preliminary, so please bear with us. Linda and I were talking one day and talking about writing grants for another organization I'm involved in. And she said, I wanted to do this for a long time. And I thought, hey, that's a great idea. I have young grandkids but when I started investigating it, there's more that I don't know than I do. So it is very preliminary. What we wanted to come before you with is to see if you're even interested in pursuing this. The colored picture that I passed out, Linda took that in.
What's in Port Huron, it's a small, a family donated it. I don't think, I don't know the price, and at this point right now, the price is probably skyrocketed, so, but I just took pictures of it to give you an idea what I was thinking, the size that we could have for a splash pad.
Any idea where you think that we would want to put
Well,
this?
we talked about some options. Again, this is up to all of you. I can tell you it's not gonna be in my backyard, right, Bart?
Unless you want it there.
No, not really. I think it's a great idea, but I don't want it in my backyard. At Bell River Park was the first one I thought of. At the playground over by the old high school was something else. The Lions Club field, just because I know that's not used for baseball anymore. But again, it's all preliminary, just kind of ideas out there. We can pursue what you wish us to pursue. And if you tell us to, forget it, we have important things like ambulance runs to fund. I don't foresee any funding needed from the city. That's the goal, is to write enough grants that you can do this. Maybe fundraising, I don't know. I can't even tell you how much it costs yet. I put some vendors down there to see if you're interested in it. And Bart, for you and for some of the other ones, we put some CDC, when I see typing error, sorry. We see some CDC guidelines. And again, I have no idea what all of that means.
What size of pad too? I don't know.
Well, that would
3 by 3,
that would depend on,
15 by 15 or?
Well, on that picture you'll see, and I measured them, and each square is 6 by 6. So I think there's like 4 squares, so that'd be probably 24 by
Okay.
24. Maybe 36 by 36.
Yeah. I know when you first said
It's a
something to me, all I'm picturing is this
It's a,
maybe big enough for one person.
Oh, no,
I don't
no.
think so.
It's-
Then you sent me another picture that had different heads on that.
yeah, no,
Then you
you
said
guys,
something about the water being recycled, where I showed my concern here. It's recycled water. What's gonna keep that water
Clean.
safe?
yeah, well,
treat it all the
there are
time.
chemicals, don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
That sounds like a lot
who's
of,
gonna maintain those chemicals?
yeah, and again, that's, where it comes
that
up
would
with
be your
you
job,
guys.
but,
I mean, we can give you
That's
all the
where it
fresh
all
water you
comes
want,
up
but
with you.
even going that way, but again,
so,
Yeah, if
We
you
don't
ran it
feel
right off the
good
water
about it.
system and then
one
it
person at a
drained,
time, please.
if you ran it right off the water system and it drained, you wouldn't have to worry about all that CDC and stuff, because it's coming out, it's clean, potable tap water.
yeah,
If you do a recycling system, yeah, it's gonna have to be like a pool or anything else, it's gonna have to
Yeah.
be filtered and cleaned and
right.
pH, because there's a lot of liability. with
That's all that
CDC.
That's
information out about it.
that's something we can, if you guys approve it, we can probably, discuss that at a later date, but we have to get all the information together, see, you guys wanna think about it? That's fine,
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah,
Especially if it's no cost to the city, I'm all ears.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you can do
The
more
more we
research
can
and
tell
find out some
playgrounds
of the
around here, the
things.
better. We're gonna
Yeah,
have
we
a
just
lot
wanted
of
to come
younger
to you
families here.
first and make sure,
What kind of specific questions would you like me to see if I can answer?
Cost,
Cost, yeah.
mostly, is what's it gonna
Operating
cost,
costs.
and I know you said it's not gonna be, but basically just cost and we'll kind of work with Bart, like best
Operational,
location wise,
because if it's one of those, it's like,
I know
again,
this was brought up years ago too by.
if you're gonna pump water onto the pad and it's gonna drain off, is it something that we set up somewhere where the water can drain off into an area where it's gonna go? To me, that's the biggest issue, is like, where does the water go after it hits the
Yeah.
splash pad?
Just off of the top of your heads, as government leaders, where would you envision it to be?
Myself, I would envision it more than anything, probably down at the Bell River Park. And I would think about that whole thing with the drainage, because you're just gonna use water, it's gonna hit the pad, and, it's gonna not even be a gray water where it could go to the Bell River or just have a natural runoff there. That's gonna be, as far as maintenance wise, to get into something that's filtrated water or having to create a drain system that's gonna go into the city drains. So
When I was typing this up, it
don't know
looked
if
pretty
that's a great
complicated,
idea
I thought.
So my only thinking would be Bell River is the farthest away from where people are, right? Like, that'd be the like, can kids walk there? Can kids get there? Is it accessible?
We do have a water main that
Kids
runs
that,
like.
I know, like,
Hey.
so like convenience versus
Yeah,
practicality,
it's
I guess. that's the
feasible down
question.
there, and I'm not sure, you have to get with the state, will they accept that runoff water?
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, I don't know.
So,
Right.
I would think to keep things centralized, Lions, like that's just my personal.
Well, that would be up to the Lions
No,
organization.
no, it's up to the
It's
city.
the city.
Lions Club
The
sits
city.
on city property.
Yeah, it's a city
Sorry, I
property.
didn't know
but I
that.
would,
But I'm saying, like, the ballparks are there, the gazebo is there, there's a playground there, like, would this just be another, like, centralized location for kids to have somewhere to go, that it's a safe area, you know, all of those things?
Is that like,
And it's
basically,
2 doors
kids,
down from my house, so my girls can go
the
there.
age of kids,
I mean, I'm a little biased about it.
the age of kids that are gonna go to a splash pad are being brought there by their parents, not walking by themselves.
Okay, so with this, instead of, you know, we're open to the idea.
Absolutely.
Just to let you know, we're open to the idea. You guys want to do some more research and check into some more into the cost and operation on all that would be great.
Well, the first thing that jumps out at me is 150 gallons a minute.
Yeah, that's tough. That's the one thing.
That's what it
that
says
I
on
see.
here.
Yeah.
Well, that's from the CDC. And Bart, I'm assuming that a holding tank is not your preference here.
no, not with the manpower we got.
Yeah.
No,
I don't
that's,
think mechanical plus. I would be interested in fixture costs too. I mean, I don't know how many fixtures you would have there that are actually, you know, splashing. But I'd be just curious, 'cause I'm sure that's gonna be a large expense. Concrete's one thing, but then the actual fixtures that you decide you would like to have on that space. Just ballpark, I'm sure you get some current price on that, gets more.
So to back up again, we're open to the idea. If you guys want to pursue it and see what information you bring to us and
research it.
before we start digging into, and you start digging into grants, if we get more information and see how viable it is for the city, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much,
Lennox
ladies.
just got one approved too, so I'm gonna go over there and talk to them and see Lennox.
Do they have one
Township.
at their?
They just got one approved,
Nice.
so I'm gonna go talk to
They get
them.
all that waste management money.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Thank you.
all right, well, thank you.
Thank you, Judith. And
Thank you,
please
ladies.
excuse
Yep.
us.
Appreciate your efforts.
Yep,
Thank you so much. My Jeopardy's calling me, so.
I saw
Mr. Glass,
From
from Wales Township Planning, referring to our, the ballot proposal.
Thank you. I'll stand over here. I'm used to people staring at me, so I'm good.
Tell you what, how about if you stand down here so we make sure we've got you on camera?
That's what
Yeah.
I'll move this over. Better? Yeah. Stop knocking that down? Good. Well, I want to thank the council and the residents for allowing me to speak again. Some of you might have been here at the planning commission meeting 3 weeks ago when I spoke, and some may not, but I'd like to start off by, before I start on the ballot initiative and going back to history, I think I'm going to start from the beginning for those of you that weren't here before, to help us all understand what's going on, but I want to step back from that for a minute to say that Wales Township, I'm the chairperson of the planning commission there and on the zoning board of appeals. For the last year, 2 years, you pick up a lot, and most importantly, how we work together as townships. It wasn't a political statement. I really understand how close we all need to be. And I remember a minute ago when your chief Doug, hi Doug, I have to say that with all the contracts that have to go back and forth between the township, I've learned a lot. And with all the head bumping and everything else, I would say that your fire chief comes across as the most honest, quality person out of the other township. Nothing against them, but just right to the point, and I appreciate it. And if I had anything to do about it, I'd talk to our supervisor on this and say, let's pass this millage for you guys, because I think that's probably the way to go. But I don't know how your millages go here. But that scares me a little bit. One guy here, one person here in place, so that's something really important, obviously, so thank you for that. The ballot initiative. Can I see a quick show of hands of anybody that doesn't know what's going on here, even a little bit? So that's good, that's good.
This is for solar and wind, right?
Solar, wind, no, a little more than it, it's grown a little bit. But briefly, a year and a half ago, I'll make this part short, so you've heard it. I was approached at my house that solar companies have been coming through from out of state, having leases signed by very few people, gag orders, not allowed to expose this, things like that, and it caught my attention immediately, so then I got into the commission and that. But most importantly, I called a few people over. Next thing, we had 600 people at the Goodall's Hall, and I probably spoke too much, but I occasionally let the microphone go. But a lot of us were passionate. And when I realized these companies that are coming in for solar, wind, and sand and gravel, things like this, you're talking solar and wind, you're talking California, you're talking Canada, and of course, Chicago. Places like this, they're coming in to take advantage of our resource, agricultural land. So we put what we thought we'd do. We'd see what the governor's reactions were going to be. Because what we had heard is they called many of the companies in that she wanted to get moving faster and say, what do you need? And what's the problem? Let's get going on this. And they had mentioned that the townships that we're going to, and there's 84 in Michigan, township cities or counties, said that we're not getting good results from all these townships. They just don't want us using the land that we need to use to produce electricity that you think we need for renewable energy, whether it's efficient or not. So she said, well, let's write down what you need on a menu. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put 2 bills out there, which in November passed, to say your setbacks, which even if you have the ability to build industrial things on your agricultural land, that's up to your master plan and your ordinances. Ours does not allow that, which is the reason they never gave us ask for a special land use permit. But either way, she said, let's put your menu together. We'll create a Michigan Public Service Commission to move this along and put it on a bill. And they passed both bills, as I mentioned. And the fact that they did that, we didn't have any recourse other than to create a ballot initiative to at least give our local officials a way to, if we can pass the ballot, to govern our own townships and our cities where we want to put solar, wind, if we want to. In other words, in Wales, it's not allowed because industrial developments of that size, 2,000 acres across from my front yard, winding through. You can imagine the passionate people around there, what they said. But in any case, we're trying to get this ballot initiative passed by May, and by design, 500,000 signatures. If we can do that and we get it passed, what I've been told is that those bills are then pretty much null and void until she comes up with something else, but it wouldn't give her enough time to do whatever else she has planned. But that's why it's so important to get this ballot initiative passed. So we're trying to push these petitions. You might have heard, saw some, I hope you do, if that's how you feel. But this is probably one of the most important things I've seen come across living in a rural township for 20 years, a little more, that would decimate farmlands, people you know, going through their backyards, front yards, and not to mention what we've heard from the fire chiefs. I asked this question in front of one of our board meetings. What do you do in case of a fire? Are you prepared? And I was told by more than one fire department, we watch it burn because the batteries can't be contained. Although when we asked what about the property surrounding them, we control the best we can. That's not a real good plan for controlling something that shouldn't be there anyway, because it's agriculture. So why not put it in industrial where the connections are there, everything they need, the infrastructure is there to put it where it should be. Well, again, they want more and more electricity they think they can get from solar, wind, and there's a lot of questions whether any of that can be done. But so that's what we're doing, is trying to push this. It's so important. I can't even imagine what will happen if this doesn't pass. It would be terrible. So I went to another meeting, Michigan Township Association. I think most of us are involved in that, and I thought it was important enough to go. So we had that meeting at Solitude Links 4 days ago. One of the top people on the planning commission for St. Clair County was there, Jeff Pemberton. So we were at that table, and the president of the MTA got up and he said, it's more than solar and wind, what's going on in Lansing. There's something called sand and gravel right now, and I'm speaking out of turn here a little bit because I'm not sure how your local ordinances are, but I hear they're not allowed to be going through the side streets and everything else. There's controls on that. Well, they're complaining over many years that it's not close enough to where we want to build the roads. So it'll save us money if you allow us to pass down these side streets and do what we want to do. That's layman's terms how I'm explaining it, but in any case, that's being looked at now at a Lansing level to repeal any local ordinances or laws that you have in effect. It'll just override them, supersedes it. Another one, if you can believe it, it almost got comical, like it's not funny, but controlling the breeds of dogs that you might have. Okay, I know, I just went, what? It just gets worse, right? So then we got the solar and wind, and again, talked about, they're going now up and down places where you wouldn't think you'd ever see a 600-foot tall tower with a wind turbine on it. We were signing petitions at last Tuesday. We stood out there 14 hours and we had various people come up, but most of them were definitely wanted to sign the petition, but there are a lot of questions about the chaos that could happen with this. You know, people just want to protect their rights. So I won't go into the weeds with that much, but one gentleman said he had somebody on his property, more than one, trespassing, things like that. And he said, they want to put a wind turbine in my backyard. There's only 150 yards between me and I-69. And he said, well, there's no wind here. No, but we're looking at all possibilities. Would you like to sell your land or lease your land for that? So this is just, it's really something they're pushing. And I hope after going to the Michigan Township Association, we can get enough ballots. So there's 84 townships, and I read the other day on Facebook, social media, that if we can double what we have now just from St. Clair County, if every other county can mirror image what we're doing, we would have enough signatures by May. So that's a good sign, but it doesn't say what the other townships are doing. So I certainly hope we can just get the word out how important this is. If well, we have to get this done. We just have to. I can't imagine otherwise. So please pass that along. I have some petitions here. I have more information. I wasn't prepared at the last meeting, Steve, but I have more here today. Be happy to wait till the end of the meeting and pass out information, but most importantly is the website you can go to and follow it. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands are on there now, but this is going to affect millions of residents in a negative way. So you can almost paint the picture of what that does when you take their local rights away.
Right, so for clarification, well, our legislature is appointed clear run of our properties for putting up solar or wind without our say.
And they're taking away local control.
That's what they're taking away local control, it's private property.
Yeah, the website is Citizens for Local Control for a reason now.
Yep.
This is important. I'm glad you asked that because what's going to happen next as we get closer to election season, we all hate political advertisements, we're going to be the worst people in the world. Worst people in the world. They won't let us do this. It's better for you. It'll lower your rates. I won't tell you how much study's been done on absolutely wrong. And the efficiency of all this crazy, and I'm hoping that it's starting to turn now where the whole country is starting to get a better look at this, electric vehicles and everything. But in any case, what it does is it mirror images what the state wants to do. An example, Memphis gets a letter, a phone call from Michigan Public Service Commission, which I should explain is 3 people appointed by the governor to understand how you're going to implement what they told your planning commission to do. And your planning commission will say, well, it's not allowed industrial on our agricultural land. Oh, yeah, you have to implement these new rules. So I hope that explains how this is going to integrate with what you want to do and what they're telling us. No, we're letting you have your choice. No, you're safe. They're really not. They're telling you what you're going to do. For instance, a 300-foot setback, maybe one of your area zoning that allows 300 feet, 50 feet. That's what they say on the ordinance for solar. 50 feet from your border. Can't imagine that. So again, this is how it will integrate with what you have. And that's just.
I think it's very important that this gets defeated.
Oh.
Very important. I just have a question. If I owned a farm, 100, 200 acres, and they wanted to put it on my farm, and I said no, could they override me? No.
There's a word for that. Domain, what's it?
Eminent domain.
I couldn't get it out.
I think it'd be a while before they start
So
taking
they
people's property.
theoretically could still, in that hypothetical situation, they could override me.
Not yet.
Not yet.
The mayor's quick to say, this is not eminent domain. The same one that said 3 years ago, we should never take local government control over. They know what's best for their township. She said there's a quote.
Well, I hope it gets defeated. I hope we it gets up to enough, sign the petition, and it goes to the electorate.
I really do too.
Yeah.
If there's any other questions, I'm gonna, as you're passing this out, you might get this type of a scenario. I think it was Memphis actually. I own land, I wanna sign the lease. Why can't I? It's my land. And I saw that and I knew right away, being on the planning commission, my answer was, you're just the same as everybody else. You look at your master plan, which is put together by all of us here that want our area, our rural landscape to look the way it is in the future, and our ordinances that back that up. If it's allowed, then you get along with everybody else, and we have to approve it. If it's not, you can go to the ZBA if you'd like, but you're not gonna be able to do it. For the same reason, your neighbor can't put a chemical plant up, or a landfill on the other side of your home. So that's how I would answer that question. You just have to do what everybody else is being asked to do over all these many years we have a master plan. And unless there's more questions, I'll end with this. While we were, excuse me, signing those petitions, I called the attention to everybody coming through. In front of Wells Township Hall, there's a big centennial sign, and it says, 1841, Wells Township was designated as the best agricultural district in Michigan. And Memphis was here in 1835. I just got this thing about reading signs. So just imagine our ancestors, and if we let this agricultural area just totally be destroyed. That's my opinion, really, but I think that's what's going to happen. So, any questions anywhere? We're happy to answer. Good?
Thank you.
Right?
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Go on.
My other hat is Mr. Chairman.
Oh, you have to get
Hey Kevin, is there any planned meetups for people to come sign petitions?
Matter of fact, since you asked me that last time, I told you I wouldn't leave you hanging again. I have them here. I have a sheet up here that'll tell you the 10 or 12 places you can go to sign petitions. But what I would do is ask you when you go there is to make sure they're not just handing out the petitions, you're there to sign them. There's a big problem right now with those 1/2% of people that don't want those petitions out there. They're stealing, they're taking the ones they sign, you're not looking. It's terrible what human nature does, but, so I would ask you to go to those places and sign those petitions. And if you probably have a captain or a co-captain, which will be listed on the Citizens for Local Choice. And they'll tell you who your captain is, you can call him. And he'll get to know you and tell you where full petitions are. Like the milk house on Kawad is where I'm going.
Wasn't there like 5 or 6 places here in town?
We have 5 places in Memphis now. Candy's one of them, the doghouse,
Thank you.
and we, because I went around and talked to them, I made that point. I asked you to go shove in people's face, but somebody comes in and asks.
Yeah.
We've already had some pretty good success with properly, already turned in like probably 40 signatures now, something like that.
Yeah.
And those are listed on the website, the 5, we have the Sunoco Station, the doghouse, the 2 cannabis stores, and one other one, Movable Feast. I was in there today, and they've got several on.
They're expanding. I went to the courtroom the other day, I had to do some business, and there was two tables out there signing petitions. The sheriffs, they all understand.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, next up on communications, Nancy Thompson with the Lions. About your shed? It's not a she shed, is it?
Oh, it is, of course, you know, it's gonna be for fun stuff. But anyways, as you'll know, they've been doing a lot of renovations on the Lions Hall and the inside of it, and we have new walls and new paint, and it looks very nice. Well, one of the end requests that we've had is a need for a shed outside for kind of a dual purpose. Soccer, which uses the fields out there, have asked to go in on the shed with part of the money. By the way, I'm not asking for any money. So soccer would use a portion of it, 1/3 of it, then 2/3 of it would be used for Lions, but also could be used as a concession stand for fireworks, for soccer events, or for different fundraising events with the Lions Club. I've been using Backyard Living to get the costs and what we would do. We're looking at a 14 by 20, we're looking at 8-foot walls, and we are looking, if we were looking at the front door of the Lions Hall, it would be on the right or the south side, right in front of the kitchen, the door that goes into the kitchen in that little
Right.
grass area by the dumpster is.
Right, just off to the
further
side.
Yeah, just right off the door. So that you would have some storage, put the grill, different things like that from in the hall. Because it would have a floor on it, it would just need to sit on gravel. It does not need to have the, I'm going.
It'll be
from
up
backyard.
off of the ground,
It
so
would
you
be
don't
off
have
the
to
ground.
worry about a rat wall, a foundation.
Exactly, and from what I've been told is that we either pull the permits or Backyard Living would pull the permits for it to be put on the property. We are not having the electrical put in it from the beginning. We would be pulling a permit for electrical, and one of the electricians, a licensed electrician, would be putting that in after getting the shed.
Where was the location again?
If you're looking at the Lions Hall,
Okay, yeah.
you've got where the dumpster is,
Right.
right? It'd be in the south corner, the
Okay,
south
so
side
kinda-
on the right, in that little area.
Getting close to the basketball court and that, with a 14.
Correct, but there'd
Right.
still be quite a lot of area, because
Yeah.
the dump, it would be before the dumpster.
Okay.
We also want to set it, we measured it so you could set it out from the building, so a lawnmower could get through
Yeah.
there, so it would be easy to maintain it that way. And then, like I said, with the joint use, so soccer is willing to put in part of the price, and then we've had the fundraisers to raise the rest of it. We also will be looking, once we can have your permission to go ahead, it would become ownership of the city, just like the building. So it would stay with the youth center, with the understanding that as long as Lions and soccer are there, they're using the building. And it does have the sides and stuff like that, or the where you don't have to repaint them all the time, and as maintenance free as possible, that's what you can get. And so that was basically what we're looking at. Once we have the permission, we are going to go to some other places like Backyard Living to make sure we're getting the best price or bang for our buck that we can for the same basic information. So that's where we're at, and just looking to see if you guys have any problem with us doing that.
I know one thing that we did before, and I don't know, when they put in the dugouts at the ball diamonds, didn't the city waive the permit fees?
Yes.
The building inspector waived the permit fees.
The building inspector waived the permit fees.
So you have to pay for the permit and then,
So we can maybe
He
get a
would-
discount
he would-
on that.
no, he would, I'm sure.
I think what you just want is permission from the council to proceed.
Proceed, go forth, and put a shed in that spot.
Yeah,
Can I get a motion?
Yeah, I don't see a problem. Okay, I'll make a motion that the Lions Club proceed to put a shed on the property.
I would just like to, if I could meet you there or something.
The location.
Get a
That
line,
exact
idea,
location. I mean, I know where it probably should be, it's not gonna be overlap on the youth center at all. But it will be to the south, to the,
It would be
To the
even
west.
line on the south wall of the youth center. I mean, it would
Okay.
go no further than the youth center itself.
okay. That's one thing I
But
was
sure,
sitting here,
I'd be
you
more
think
than
I'd
happy.
remember what the
I understand.
basketball and.
But definitely to vote, to approve your general idea and location.
Okay, subject to Bart's approval, okay?
Building inspector.
Yeah.
I have a motion.
Support.
I made the motion, so,
You support? Wilson,
yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Nancy.
guys. And I will, yes.
We bought a shed from a place north of Union City, 53.
Was it Yoder's?
It doesn't sound,
All right,
they were better priced.
let's see. Unfinished business number 4, communications from Memphis Meadows. Mr. Weaver?
Yeah, I got a text from Mark Skiba, he's the project manager, we also talked to Bart. And he was just passing along, they got the engineering drawings completed from the land, we had a meeting with their engineer, the city engineer, and they were ready for review from BMJ. For the Memphis Meadows Phase 2
Right.
Condominium project, and he just wanted to know how would we like to get them, and he could send them PDF or hard copy, and Bart made suggestions. Both are fine, but he wants to have a hard copy here too, and I can just communicate that to him.
Yeah.
I'll have it in text tonight, but that's, he just wanted to give us a heads up if that was complete, he's ready to give them to the city. for
I think BMJ can get them through the.
The PDF,
Yeah,
BMJ.
well, Mark just asked me how we would like to receive them, so I said both ways would be fine.
Yep.
Okay, I'll do that.
Do you think we should have the city's email involved so that we have a record of when they sent it to us?
Imagine to send it to you, Donna, PDF to Donna's desk.
And to.
Is he gonna bring the bigger ones too?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, because I talked to him and I already told him just drop them off
So-
here.
So the
If he can-
PDF to Mark and to the city. to
No, I told him the
DPW.
PDFs would be nice for
So you can print
the
them if you
members,
want.
to everyone get them in their packets.
Okay. All right, I'll have him
But,
do
I mean,
that.
if he wants to make all the copies, it'd
It's
be
just a
better.
problem with the, yeah, we can't print anything that's large enough for
Right,
reading, you
right.
know, so.
Okay.
All right, next up, unfinished business. Introduction of ordinance number 224, that is in reference to the rental inspections. Anybody want to take this around with it?
Yeah, there's just one thing I'd like, and I did talk to Steve, and this is on page 3, and if you go down, section 9707, and you go to number 3, and it calls for the name, local address, and telephone number, and date of birth. I don't think date of birth, I think that should be eliminated, there's no need for that, so.
Yeah.
So, when I was reviewing, I did talk to Steve on this as well. I'd like to make that correction. It still can be adopted with that change.
Yeah.
There was a couple others that were reminded as far as just capital letters where it shouldn't be or something like that. So, there was another one, I think, Steve's going to correct where it was rental and the spell wrong, the T was missing. So
My finger didn't like hit the T key, so I found like 4 rentals instead of rentals.
Yeah.
But I highlighted them all in here, and I can correct that and send it to Donna. Mel also called me this morning, because he's been reviewing this also, since he probably will take it up. And he also wanted to suggest a change on 97.09. And if you look at the 2 sentences at the bottom of that section, 9709, from the point where it says, starts the 3rd line from the bottom, a certificate of compliance shall expire 2 years from the date of issuance. The inspection process will then be continued for all such units on a periodic basis, once every 2 years provided. He thought it would be better to keep the continuity of these inspections every 2 years to, from that word expire, which is in the 2nd sentence from the bottom, he thought it might be better to go something like this. A certificate of compliance shall expire at the end of the 2-year renewal period. Then renewals for inspection start May 1st after the initial registration or provided for section 9711. So he's saying that we go this way, that we're going to put a notice out to the property owners that you got to register the property, have it inspected. When May 1st comes up 2 years later, that's when it all starts over again. So we'll always keep that renewal, so we don't end up getting scattered all the way through the year. And for his convenience, because Mel's kind of a part-timer, he's in Florida for the summer, that we'll just get on the regular 2-year schedule, and then we can send out notices.
Could we put the May 1st date in there?
Pardon me?
Could we put the May 1st date in there?
Yeah, that is in there.
Oh, I missed that, sorry.
Yeah, renewal, it's not in there yet.
Sorry, that's
Renewals
my
for
fault.
inspection start May 1st after the initial, and we state in there that these inspections will be every 2 years.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we can maybe, or, I don't know, maybe I've missed it, that these things can be amended by resolution?
Yes, I think
Any other, sure.
is
Can be amended by resolution without doing a whole amendment process of the law?
you guys know better about.
You know, like if the fee schedule or adding a certain type of thing or something like that.
You don't have to re-put it in the paper every time you amend it,
Oh, okay.
stuff like that. It'll just be by resolution.
So how would you work that?
I don't know, Larry, how would you word
Not
that?
a concern.
There is,
This ordinance can be amended by resolution.
That would be like right at the end of it.
Yeah, last one.
Last slide.
Lastly.
I think the fee schedule is already in there, can be amended by resolution.
Okay,
Remember
yeah,
correctly.
fee schedule, yeah, because prices are gonna change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too, but we maybe wanna add something or take something away.
All right, I'll put it at the end.
Gives us the opportunity without having to go through all the legal notices and
Yeah,
stuff.
good point.
Do you want to bring this back for adoption, or can we just adopt?
So if you put it under
corrections?
section 97.29,
Yeah.
um,
At the end.
that,
Yeah,
this ordinance may be, altered by resolution.
Yeah, amended by resolution of city
Amended.
council or something.
Right.
well, everybody here's what we want to do. I'd be very happy to just make these changes and vote on it as amended and sent on with that.
You can introduce it right now.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah,
been
with
introduced,
changes.
we'll adopt it. Already
With changes, because we did just make some changes.
March 5th, we introduced it.
Oh.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance number
No.
224 with the corrections as stated.
We adopting or
And
introducing?
requested.
We're
Introducing.
introducing, we're not adopting yet.
Introduction.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was introduced March 5th.
Well, this is the introduction
That's
of it.
today.
No, it was passed out because he wanted people to make corrections.
I got it right on here.
Yes,
It's
today.
March 5th.
It's today.
It's today.
Yeah.
Today's March 5th.
Oh, I see.
So this is introduction.
Getting late,
Sorry.
getting late and I'm not old, so.
Well, don't use age as an excuse.
All right, I'm sorry.
Oh, I use it as an excuse.
I thought we introduced.
So you're making the motion to introduce?
Yeah.
With changes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's second?
I'll second it.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Great job on that, guys.
Yeah, Mr.
It actually moved along pretty quick on that.
And that pretty much
That
pertains
doesn't
to
have to be sent
any,
to
even
an
if somebody's
attorney.
renting out a room or anything like that, as long as,
Right.
okay, it's.
Does that need to be
across the
sent to
board.
an attorney?
Moving right along now.
Mr. Mayor,
Um,
Mr. Mayor,
because this is gonna be more talking points. I'm sorry.
can I just say something briefly?
Sure.
We had an example today of why this ordinance is important. We had a fire call to a rental property here in town. I won't say where, but the place was so unsafe, people should not be living there. We couldn't get to the circuit breaker panel because it was on the opposite side of the room, so full of stuff that we couldn't reach it to turn off power. This will be very good for the city.
Is that where the light?
That was the tenants stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roberta wants to know
Thanks,
if it needs to go to the attorney.
Pardon?
Roberta
Does the
asked if
attorney
it
need
should
to
go,
review this?
do you want the attorney to review it?
Is it up on there already?
No, no, it hasn't, hasn't been to the attorney.
The bulk of it came from K-Pac.
Yeah, I just.
I'm sure it's gonna do, I don't think we made any major changes. I would feel pretty good about not burning up attorney's fees on this, just my opinion.
Okay. Next up, a resolution. The decertification / vacation of Oak and McGuire Streets. So now this is something that's been bounced back and forth over a lot of time, and there was a lot of confusion about what had to be done to vacate these streets, and should we vacate the streets, and because we'll lose money from the state. How do they get divided up between property owners, if, somebody's got this part, they want it all, who's gonna get the other part? In drawing property lines on it, it's gonna be kind of sticky, but, with that, Jason, I'm sure you've got something to say about this.
Only from a real estate perspective, who's gonna pay for surveys for new property lines, because you need new legal descriptions of any property. Every property, if you're gonna get a mortgage or refinance property, you need a legal description. In order to get a legal description, that's done by having a survey done. The surveyor actually writes your legal description. Who's gonna pay for that? Are you putting that on the property owners just because, I don't know, that's all. I mean.
They're getting the land free,
honestly,
what's that?
Huh?
You're getting the land for nothing, so.
If you want it,
If you want it, that's the key.
Yeah, they said.
If you
want it.
want it, then those property owners that are adjacent have to come to an agreement first.
well, usually that it'll just split the road right down the middle.
Well, sure,
That's
but I'm
where it
saying,
goes.
in the meanwhile, the city just, that's the city's property. We have pieces in that old subdivision from 1917 that are already
Yep.
like that, where we have the playground was and those areas. So, yeah, eventually, if you wanted half of your spot between your two
But
lots.
usually it's automatic. Usually when you vacate a road, that road disappears and it goes between the two adjacent property owners and meets in the middle, correct?
Well, that was the
Yeah.
way understanding I got from the right-of-way agent.
But you gotta remember, on McGuire Street, we already gave up 10 foot of that.
Yeah, right. We have
And that's
10 foot over
that's
there,
shown
yeah.
on the map too, by the way,
Yeah,
Bart.
okay.
That is
shown.
already reflective on the GIS. I'm just saying that when it comes down to, if I have a mortgage on my property and now I'm gonna automatically own this new piece of property that's tied to it, for one, the mortgage company's gonna wanna know. If I go to refinance, they're gonna wanna know. I'm gonna need a legal description to do that. In order to have a legal description, you need, and that's for the lady over on Pratt. That's for, they're gonna need, if they go to try to sell the property, the title's not gonna clear, they're gonna go, what's going on? Because this
I
legal
explained it
description.
personally to her exactly how all
Yeah,
this
the
works.
legal
with pictures
description
and
has to
charts and
match what's on file, so who's gonna pay for the survey to do the legal description? That's the question here.
And I also told
Whether
you
you're
we
saving
paid
money, or
property
you're making
tax on
money,
it,
or
too.
what, I mean, I don't know. I live in one of these spots.
Right.
Do I want more property? Sure, I'll take more property, but it is, if it's gonna be a case, it's usually when you vacate a property, it's automatic, goes to the people who are adjacent. It's not gonna go to the guy down the road. It's gonna be these people meet in the middle. Nobody gets more than the other person unless they agree on it. But the bottom line is you need a legal description on everything. And then there's a few other issues over in that area, as you know. With my lots, I have a front lot and a back lot. In between the front lot and the back lot, there's like this 3-foot, or what is it, 15-foot alley
15-foot alley.
that they had planned to go between. There's gonna be an alley that, when they planned all this, was a bunch of lots. There's gonna be an alley that went through there. Right now, I have an alley through the property, 2 separate lots, and a road next to me. Now, if that was all developed, that's what I would have there, but now it's just lines on a map. I know when the last assessor said, if they did vacate these things, what they basically asked me, or people like me to do, would be to combine everything.
Yeah.
Combine my front lot, get rid of that alley, combine my front and back lots, plus add the other, whatever stuff is there, and it would all have to be surveyed. Even if you just vacate it, it's gonna have to be surveyed for you to tax
Well,
it.
what's your opinion, Jason? I mean, all right, that was plotted I'm just curious, that was plotted in 1917, you see that?
Yeah, it's
Those
old.
lines are right there, all those dimensions are there, could you not just rewrite the boundary descriptions without having to have a survey done?
No, it's because
Probably
it's called a legal
Yeah.
description for a reason. It's gotta be done
Yeah.
by a
So
certified surveyor.
That's,
Has got a licensed
bad.
surveyor generally need to
I mean,
come
I
up
don't
with
think the
those
lines
things.
have moved
I
since
mean,
1917.
Amber relies on these legal descriptions in order to
Okay.
come up with taxable values and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
these legal descriptions are gonna be needed by the city too, to apply taxes to these people like me.
Right.
Okay, for me, it would probably increase my property taxes, it's whatever. But for my neighbor's a disabled vet, not gonna mess with him any, he gets 100% exemption. I don't know about those two over there, I know, Mr. Siska, disabled vet, he's probably not paying property taxes, probably not an issue with him, and you're talking about so
Mrs.
much.
Wheeler, I said you gotta
Mrs.
get-
Wheeler's not
yeah.
talking about a lot, cause she's only got that
Right.
short lot.
She's got
It's probably not
mine.
gonna increase hers, I mean, they'll increase mine by quite a bit, cause if you're going back to 400, 350 feet that I own, and it's 30 feet.
We got
back
part
to
of the road, which is.
there's part of the road, part of the back, and really, if you go back that far, and you give me half that road, you go back to the very back of that back lawn, the back property, you're gonna be definitely eating into left field of that one ball diamond. I already sort of have a lot of left field of that ball
Which
diamond.
the
Now you're gonna,
city
now
owns
it would
already
be.
though, right?
Yeah, so here's, basically, say here's the ball diamond.
Yeah. I
Okay,
understand.
this is my property line. if you do this, this is gonna add that to it. I'm just gonna be more into that. So I think just lines have to be drawn instead of just vacating, is all. I mean, I'm not against it, I'm not saying I'm against it or whatever, it's just, the lines have to be drawn that, so everybody knows where these new boundaries are gonna be.
Sure. My question, what's the why? Why is this happening? Like, why?
I received a phone call last year.
Just a
I received
random-
a phone call this year from
Just
the
a
state.
random phone call from the state, like?
I got a phone call from the state last year, I got it this year. Correct.
Just curious.
About
Abandoned it,
maintaining.
because when I'm signing this map for Act 51,
Yeah,
I'm actually falsifying it, because it's showing that McGuire and Oak Street's connected.
yeah,
There's no way they're connected.
Yeah.
They haven't never been.
Never been connected.
yeah.
So the
And she
revenue that we
says-
get on here, if you look at it,
Yeah.
it's $1,943 a year in revenue that we get from the state for maintaining the roads that are not there.
Yeah,
We haven't been maintaining because it's never existed
Right.
fully.
So,
I mow that road.
Right.
so it is one of those, it's like, so then, this is just one part, okay,
Yeah,
with
of the
the
bigger-
complication there.
Yeah.
So now then you get into the McGuire Street portion off of Pratt, okay? Where you have one person that has been pestering the city to
Yeah.
get
I'm sure that's
more
where
of
the
that
phone call
road,
came from.
because it was
No such
probably
thing as coincidence.
15 years ago that we vacated, per se, 10 feet.
Longer than
Right,
that.
that's
To
a
one
longer
property
than
Yeah,
owner.
25 years ago.
I think
That
it was
before our
Wally
time, man.
Siska,
Pardon
right?
me?
It was before Cisco.
Yes, before Cisco.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Cinda.
Cinda, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was Wally Cinda that got the 10
Yeah.
feet. And so now you have Miss Wheeler, who's like, well, you gave him 10 feet, why don't you give me 10 feet? So now if we turn around and we vacate it, how do you split it up? I guess, it's like, okay, we'll give you 10 feet and then we'll split the rest of it. Okay, who's gonna pay for the surveys?
That's,
How are we gonna straighten
Yeah.
all this out?
I mean, I'm all for it. If we're not using the roads and he's doing falsified, it's,
Legally, we have to vacate it,
Yeah, I
or
was
quick.
there, I was there.
We gotta get it off that map.
Time's up now, eh?
Yeah, it's all done
Well, we're
there.
ahead of the game,
City
we're
property.
$2 grand a
But it
year.
could be
for
city property
40
without
years
being a
or
road.
whatever.
Sure it could be.
so you just gotta take off the road map. Just take it off
Just
the
gotta
road.
take it off the map,
Yeah, and you
So
don't have to
vacate it.
vacate the road, you just gotta
or take it off.
describe the road differently, whatever,
Certified?
decertify it as a road, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
Isn't that what we
like,
got
as
paperwork
long
on
as
that?
you get it all figured out, I'm trying to pull it and everything like that, but it's just got, the line's gotta be
I mean,
drawn right when you.
It'd be really easy to say, okay, we're decertifying them as roads, and it's, go over and talk to,
Your neighbor.
Mr. Cinda and talk to Miss Wheeler and say, okay, this is the line, this is yours, are you good with that?
But you still
and-
need a property
Still need a
description.
legal
Right.
description.
Yeah.
Why
I'm
don't
sure
we
there'll be
see
one
if
sooner or
we
later.
can get
Right.
somebody from the county.
But somebody's gotta
Find
pay,
a sale.
somebody's gotta pay for a survey.
Why don't we leave it at that?
Yeah, the city would have to pay for a survey, because you
Right.
can't plop it on the, people.
I just no
Vacate this
longer-
road and now you gotta pay this.
I'm not, I can't
Well, you
just
wanna
keep
pay
signing
it.
that,
Right.
once it's been brought to my attention.
So, okay, I mean,
So basically, we have to adopt this.
Yes.
More or less.
No, not more or less, you have to adopt that.
And then we have to figure out how to get it assessed properly.
it would be about
Survey.
decertification, not exactly vacation. You're gonna decertify it as a road, but
Yes.
the city's, to vacate would be to turn it over, to say the city isn't gonna own this anymore. To decertify it would cover them, right?
I would
No,
think so,
they're-
yes.
They're yeah, I suppose it would,
They're-
but I was there when you took the call.
Yeah.
They're requesting both
And-
though, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
I was there when he took the call on this, and
Yes,
I
you
know
were.
he informed me last year that he also had the same call. And they're requesting that it be, and that was their language, how this resolution is written. In other words, the resolution was written, and they okayed that resolution,
Yes.
how it's written. So if you wanna change it, that's up to you, but this is what they were required.
So we're just gonna not call it a street, but it's still gonna be city property for now.
Well, if we vacated it,
It's, well, that's up to, it can't be, the streets.
It says vacate.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
does.
has to be vacated, and they said decertification slash vacation, vacating it. And of course, the revenue side is what I determine what the lost revenue will be on that.
Right.
So it's based on footage. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Why can't you just call it, not call it a street anymore, call it a green space or whatever?
Just call it
Because they're
whatever,
asking
city
the city to
property, it's
vacate
just
it.
city property.
You can't,
I don't know that it matters what we call it if they're asking us to vacate it.
Just-
Don't call it a road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the next
It's
step
just
we
saying
get,
the
once we
city
get
is-
that into the state, next year when the print comes,
We
we're
can
not
worry
gonna see the
about
horse
drawing
show
lines and-
anymore.
yeah.
Now I can sign it without,
Yeah.
Without
see,
issue.
he's-
Yeah.
This doesn't change ownership, so that's fine.
No, and all it does is, because this is so they won't be paying revenue on something they shouldn't be.
Okay, all right, cool with this.
And we're reluctant to, I know we don't
I
want to.
think there's been a changing of guards, because for years, I just followed suit what the last guy did.
This just corrects that
Yeah.
the way it should
Okay,
be.
all right, I see what you're saying here, and then when it comes to vacating or changing property
Well, that
lines,
can be done.
that'll be a while.
Yeah, but
Okay.
like, it shows right there, right on the footage, and it's included, right? That's what we're eliminating, that won't be there anymore. We'll lose $1,900 a year. Okay?
No more discussion, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion, we adopt we approve the resolution of vacating our recertified Oak in McGuire Street.
I'll support.
Murder,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes,
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa. Huh?
Oh, yes, yes. I shouldn't,
No, you should abstain because it affects you.
Yeah, that's true.
but it doesn't affect me at this point until
No,
we start
because he's
changing
not
property
taking any
lines.
ownership of any.
We're not changing ownership, no deeds are getting signed or passed here, but
No.
either way, I'll abstain if that makes a difference. You know, I'm able to do that before.
No, you're not able
I'm
to
not,
abstain.
so
You cannot
what do I
abstain.
do? Just to stay.
Say yes.
Well, I
I
don't
don't
know.
want anybody thinking.
You can vote
conflict of
president.
interest, I'm like,
You can vote
how
president.
about this? No. Then I'm voting against all my.
Simple.
Weaver?
Because it's passed.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Okay, I have Mazer, Murder, Schneider, Weaver, Wilson, Zimmer, yes. Sofa, no, so the motion passed.
Yeah. I don't know if that's real or bad.
You could
All
have
right,
taken-
up
could have
next,
taken it back.
we'll get into the private domain with VC3, Mr. Zimmer?
Yeah, so Donna got me the contact information for VC3, it used to be IT Right, now it's called VC3. I talked to them, they pointed me in the direction, so this is twofold. What we talked about at the end of the last council meeting, when everyone kind of dispersed, the police chief brought it up that he was having some issues getting things through without having a cityofmemphis.gov domain email address. So I started doing the research about it. The domain itself is free. The federal government gives it to us for free. I've applied for it already. I'm just waiting for the approval. It'll be at cityofmemphismi.gov if they approve that. If not, I think it's like memphismichigan.gov, whatever it is. It takes a while to get that approval because nothing with the federal government moves quickly. I applied for it February 19th and there's no updates at all. So still waiting on that part. The secondary part to that is the support of that domain. It would be putting employees of the city of Memphis on that domain to be able to use that domain as the communication source for the city. I asked Donna to give me a listing of actual city of Memphis employees. There's 32, so that's where these licenses are based off of. There are different calibers of licenses, different levels of licensing. So there's like an email only license. There's a government protected encrypted license. So Donna clearly would need to have an encrypted, Donna and Amber would need to have encrypted emails and all that stuff.
Do they have them then?
No, because it's just through Comcast, which is, I'll get to that in just a second. The way VC3 has it set up, it's all cloud-based. It's all multi-factor authenticated, so that's an additional layer of support. VC3 offers firewall support, so it basically protects all of our digital information, because right now, if we were ever to get sued or FOIA'd or anything like that, and it has to do with our personal email addresses, we would have to turn all of that over. So there's a lot of opportunity for risk for people who use their personal email addresses to conduct city business.
Right.
The majority of this cost is set up. because it is not cheap, because it is a process. There's a lot of data integration, there's a lot of creation of the cloud, of licensing and those types of things. There is flexibility in this. I don't want,
Well, also, just to kind of cut to the chase, so we're looking at a lot of setup costs and
Basically.
we're looking at like $6,500.
it'll be
So-
less than that, is my
Right.
thinking.
So you're looking at, so if I see in the bottom, it's $655 monthly, is that what it would boil down to as a monthly cost after the initial setup?
Yeah,
For 32,
employees. And that's where we have a lot of mobility and a lot of change. Do all of the people on the fire department need the city of Memphis email address?
We all have fire department.
Right, so, I mean, so those would be email onlys. Do more than 5 people need encrypted email addresses? Those are the things that we really have to get into the weeds about and decide what we wanted to do. Do we want to make it so the council, Donna, Doug, Bart, and the police chief have encrypted emails, so it's, you know, super protected? This way we can send things freely, court documents, all that stuff. And everybody else just gets regular email addresses. Those are the things we'd have to decide.
I'm old, I think, so, I'll just say that. I have my own personal email on my phone.
Right.
And then I have the Memphis DPW.
Right.
At Comcast.
So the problem with that is none of it is protected.
Yeah.
Right, you have the Comcast firewall and that's it. So if anybody gets into that,
Right.
it's fair game.
nobody can complain more about Comcast's email connection than I do.
The other thing is the Comcast emails, I was working with Donna this week, she's at 98% capacity and there's no way to add additional storage that I could find with Comcast. So her and Amber are literally deleting emails as they come in. And that'll eventually get to a point.
Only junk emails.
Well,
We don't delete emails.
yeah, junk emails. I'm sorry, I should have clarified that. Contracts are not getting deleted. But they're deleting all the junk email. And eventually what's gonna happen, the stuff that you have to keep is gonna get you to 100%. So we're literally running out of space for secure email usage and secure online usage. We can adjust the licensing, we can do all that stuff. We just need to decide if this is something we really want to move forward with.
Just have one quote?
Yeah, because this is our current IT company. I mean, we could get others.
No, I would just for clarification.
Yeah. So, up to the city, how we want to handle it. We can decide about who gets what licensing and stuff like that. But that's really where the money would be a little bit different in the monthly cost, is who has what licensing.
So just so anybody knows, I mean, we go through with this, I see that if any of these city workers check, like you maybe check your email on your phone.
Yeah.
You won't be able to use, if you use this, you'll have to download the Outlook app. You won't be able to go through your
That's what I'm saying.
normal phone interface.
My email for business is
easy.
It's very, very easy.
Yeah.
There will be 2 things that you have to do. You'll have to download it's called multi-factor authentication. So if you've ever logged into anything and it sends you a code, that's what it is. So that's the multi-factor authentication. And then you'll have to download the Outlook app.
I got another question.
Yeah.
I don't do business as far as emailing on my phone.
Yeah, you maybe don't need it.
Then maybe you don't need it. I mean, that's not,
Yeah.
I mean,
When
you just wouldn't be able
when
to
it's
use.
company, for one, I have to, I always pass out the Memphis DPW.
You can
email.
still send and receive emails to people in the city, you just couldn't access the memphis.gov email domain.
Yeah, we would.
What
It wouldn't change for you. It wouldn't change at all. It wouldn't change.
You'll be fine, just use
I'm
it
cool.
the way you
Okay,
do.
that's all I need.
I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm not even gonna have an email. I'll just stick with
Yeah,
what I
so
have. I'm
I
not
don't,
fine.
personally, I don't need it, is all I'm hearing?
Right.
Thank you.
I probably won't either.
You can still send and receive emails to and from all the people that have those domain names. You're just not part of the domain security.
Gotcha.
Mine's already secure, that they used to send to me.
I sure won't forget it.
From
Now,
my company. It's from my company.
Tech City Hall, and things like that.
I'm old.
But for the other workers and stuff like that, and especially for the police department, probably, and the city offices here, it's probably a good idea, because we've already been hacked before at one time.
So
and it could've been
I think
worse.
that, we could move forward with this.
Make a motion?
And then, but we just need to whittle down
The pricing, yeah.
the pricing and who, what, why.
That'll be the big thing. What we can do is we can, Donna, we can work together on who would really need what. Because I don't think outside of like council and the chair people, any other encryption or anything would be needed. Right?
Okay.
You need a motion on that?
Yeah, so can I get a motion for Mr. Zimmer to move forward on gathering more information and putting a packet together for the private domain?
So moved.
Support. So we're going ahead, we're not just putting a packet together, we're actually going forward with this, what he's talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So you want me to pull the trigger?
Yes,
All right.
that's what the motion is.
Yeah. that's what I
Then I
thought.
have another question.
Sure.
Do you have to change your email address? I mean,
Well, we can, ideally, everyone would be on the same domain if you work for the city.
okay,
But unless we decide as a council that we want to force people to do that,
yeah.
you don't have to.
If you
So
wanna
the
change-
DPW can be the same, that's all I'm saying, because
Yeah.
business cards and all that, and
Yeah,
whatever
oh
it
yeah,
is,
absolutely.
You can-
Absolutely.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't
It'd just
think,
be like bart@cityofmemphis.com.
yeah, it would just be, yeah, it'd be like bdunsmore@cityofmemphis.mi.gov.
Yeah.
That's all it would be.
I'm just, because I got a lot of people out there that I do business
So
with,
Yeah.
yours the same, yeah.
And
so,
what you can do in those, if you did switch to the city of Memphis Gov,
yeah,
all you'd have to do is, if it came to your personal, just forward it to the city one.
right.
See, you set it
You
up.
can set up
where it would be
auto forwarding
forward.
too.
Yeah, you do auto forward.
Yep.
And you can send everybody one email that says, this is my new email.
Yes.
Change your,
Yeah,
super
I have
easy.
seen that, I've gotten those before.
And Bart, I can walk through it with you, it's
That'd be
it's not
fantastic.
complicated at all. Once you do it the first time, you're good.
Okay, we have a motion on the table,
Okay.
correct?
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
Weaver, Wilson,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question? I know it's out of place,
Certainly.
but it pertains to what I do. With all this information, I want to borrow some experience here. If I'm setting up agendas, things like this, and I just use my personal email all along with the ZBA and things like that, I can sign up. They have a way to put me on the city site or the Wells Township site. If a FOIA comes up,
Your email inbox
anything,
is open.
everything on my email, my
Everything on your
business
personal phone that is used for business is subject to FOIA.
So the one workaround that that I've learned in my professional career is if you create folders in your inbox and they ask you for specific things, you only have to give them those specific things. So everything for me goes to a City of Memphis City Council folder automatically.
Okay.
So if we ever get FOIA'd, I only have to open that folder up, unless they're super generic and specific and say all contents of this email domain,
Now,
which
just
they can
asked-
do.
They just asked me, do you want us to put you on that? And I'm
I
gonna
would
say yes tomorrow.
definitely do it.
Thank you.
Okay, absolutely should.
All right, thanks.
All right, moving along. I think we're on new business number 1 now.
Yeah.
Now, code number 4.
Miss-
Code enforcement.
On
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, so
Number
this
4, parking on the streets.
this is me again, and I wasn't as prepared as Steve. So, Steve, do you wanna? So there were two questions from the
Yeah.
code enforcement officer. The first was, should the code enforcement officer be allowed to issue citations, tickets, basically? Which I guess I didn't know he couldn't do
I
that.
don't think he should be.
Based upon the code, if he's enforcing the code,
When he hired him,
isn't that what
he didn't want to do that.
That's what it is. But now that's what he's asking for. He's asking to be able to issue, right, Donna, that was one of them?
He said he doesn't wanna issue it, but he noticed if he sends something out, it gets taken care of right away. He doesn't plan on ever going to court or anything over anything, cause he said it's not worth it.
No, wouldn't be for it.
Everything's been done, they sent letters for?
I mean, if he sends out say, a
So this-
notification or a letter and nothing happens, and then do we go on to issue a
That's what
citation?
he's-
I think that's what it
That's
is
what
in
he's
reference to.
asking.
That he could be the one, I've done all my due diligence, the timelines have all expired, and Steve's still not cutting his grass, or whatever the case may be, or whatever the code is. And he wants to be able to say, well, that's $150 fine, whatever it is.
Well, so no, the thing is so that's we have to go to our code and him understanding our code, that in our ordinance, if you haven't cut your grass, you get notification.
Correct.
Now we contact a landscaper, they come out and they mow it, and then we put it on their bill.
I think he was looking for it, and Donna, you can correct me because these came from you, but I think he was looking for it as a shove for people to start getting things done.
Yes.
There's more to it than cutting grass though.
Yeah,
Well, I was
just
using that for instance.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's easy to go out and cut someone's grass. It's a lot harder to take a 30-foot trailer parked at somebody's house all winter and tow it somewhere.
Otherwise, he's gonna have to keep asking the police to go there, basically.
Okay, I see what you mean.
And so if we issue a
I
citation,
know he wrote a lot of
do
letters
we
on
have
all
set
everything.
fees and?
Do we have set fees?
No.
I don't know that.
In our
There's some,
ordinance,
in the ordinances, it usually says,
It's outlined.
subject to this, could be a $500 fine or
Yeah,
whatever.
kind of defaults. to
Most
that.
like
And
that.
I believe it's per day.
We might need to revisit that.
Yeah,
Since
maybe-
when those were written, maybe those prices have probably gone up for a lot of.
Most of them, I believe, are 500 or something.
And 500 and or 90 days in jail
Yeah.
for tampering with a water system.
So he
That's
wants
a-
the ability
right.
to be able to issue those specific citations.
Visual.
And he's asking for council approval to do that. We probably have to amend the code enforcement thing that we just adopted, right?
It seems like we might need to do something with that.
Yeah, so that's the one. So this will probably have to get tabled until we can get more clarification from him. Can we
He
ask
should
him?
come in.
He should
and-
be here.
I invited him.
He did say he would come to that.
Yeah, he wasn't
I
sure if he
believe.
would be able to, but he'll be at our next plan.
He said
Maybe
most
a week
likely
from
he
Wednesday,
will.
he'll be here, so we'll be able to
Okay.
get some feedback. and
Was there
share that.
something to do with
So,
parking too?
Yeah, so the second one is, he wants us to write in our, I guess, ordinances, to not allow people to park on their grass.
Yeah, between the house and the sidewalk, right?
He didn't say anything
just said
specific,
park on
he
the
just said
grass.
park on the grass. And when we talked about it, my thinking would be, you can't limit it, or you can't open it up to everything, but who are we to tell people where they can?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't know grass, man.
I think you guys
Most
should
places
maybe
you
talk
can't
to
park in
him
the front
and
lawn.
let him refresh our memory, because that was
That's
a while
good. Yeah,
ago.
we've
Yeah.
got enough to talk about now.
I would love for him to come to one of
That's
our
what I'm saying,
meetings.
maybe when he comes to that meeting, you guys should re-talk to him and,
Well, I think he should come to one of these
I
meetings.
think he should be at a city
Yeah, that's
council
not,
meeting.
that's not really for the place.
That's not- that's not for
To the next
planning.
council meeting
Yeah, the
after
planning
meeting
commission
Wednesday.
isn't really the place.
No.
no, I was just gonna say, if you're
Planning
gonna
for
be there
planning, not
to get it
enforcement or
clarified for
ordinance.
him.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can table that until we get more information from
Yeah,
him,
you know,
but that was, those were the
And
two
or
things.
set up a nuisance committee meeting or
Something like that.
to gather more information.
But that was started at a council meeting.
Not,
Yeah.
You can come here.
Robbie, that's you.
Yeah, you can come here. He's one of
Yeah,
the
have him come to
So
the
employees.
maybe,
meeting.
He's the
do
same
we,
employee, invite him here.
do we wanna send it to nuisance and have them talk to him to get more clarification on it? Would that make more sense,
That's what committees are for.
right?
Yeah,
I don't have any objections, but we're gonna hopefully hear from him Wednesday, so I'll just have some more general information anyway, but that would be, I don't have any objection to that.
yeah. Well, and again, my thought is it's not really a
Right.
planning, it's not really planning.
Not like-
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
don't
just
think
wanted them to be aware of what's going on.
That's fine. I mean, hey, you know, more places to gather information.
Yeah, I
That's
just
fine.
wanted to be included on, because this is kind of new, we just brought them on, and I
Yep.
thought it might be a good opportunity.
Touch base with
And it was the next
everybody.
one up, you know, really.
Well, like planning doesn't write ordinances or enforce anything, so it's probably better to go towards,
nuisance, so you can get there.
but definitely if you want to come talk
Just
to
information.
All right, so moving on,
Should be inside.
no action on that, correct?
Right.
All right, so new business. Mr. Weaver, the Pratt sidewalk.
Okay, the sidewalks, we discussed that a little bit last time where I gave you the pictures of, they got sidewalks on the Pratt Road, 3 houses, they finished on Pratt Road, and they were going to include them, I think it was 6 houses on there, Larry, that's right.
6, yeah.
And so they would stop right about, we had 3 legacy houses that are left that would not have a sidewalk on, and the idea was, I think it'd be a very good move for the city to pave those, so that it would tie up all the way to Bell River. We discussed that a little bit with Mark Mark Skiba and Mike DeMille, when we met them at the engineering meeting, they gave a ballpark quote of about $2,500 a home, so about $7,500. And the questions that we would have, would we consider paying for it? You have to talk.
Ooh, I want the city to fix my sidewalks.
Well, I know, hold on, let me finish. Yeah, I know that's something, but I'm just throwing it out there.
You have
No.
sidewalks though.
No,
You
but
have,
there is
sidewalks,
some
but the
maintained.
people that live down there, they don't have anything, and it's kids going down.
Right.
I walk down there almost every night in the summer, so I, me and my dog are walking
I'm
in the
being
road.
sarcastic.
I know you are.
So, in here, just to back up and look at the cost on it, and one of the things that I thought about, something that we had looked at, started last year, that I think we need to step forward on too, is like my sidewalks. I have parts of it that are in disrepair.
We got that in the works.
We have that, well, so the thing is my thought is, if we're gonna have a contractor in town that's gonna be, you know, to kind of look at overall throughout the city, to have
But
one
it's not an isolated
contractor.
incident, Mr. Mayor, I want, because they're gonna be laying those sidewalks soon. as
Well,
soon as they
they're
build
the
it.
contractors.
Yeah, I
Well,
want.
I thought the pictures were for what was done.
No,
That's
that's
just
what's,
what's been
so
done
it
the other
stops, so on Pratt, you know where the old bump used to be?
Yep.
There
So
you go.
Yeah, so, well, no, I thought this is what the pictures.
No, there'll be another.
They haven't done them
They
yet.
haven't done all the way down.
Okay.
They gotta stop.
Two or three
Yeah.
more to
Okay,
go.
They got
so-
more to go.
So, my misunderstanding, I thought this was pictures of them going in.
No, we're heading east.
Yeah.
From there still.
There's
Well,
still,
I just looked at the pictures and I thought this was.
Yeah,
the-
three lots.
there's one more house that has to go right there. I'm
Right.
thinking it's one more that has to go right there.
There is.
And they'll have to finish the sidewalk. Do you know if they're going to the culvert or past the culvert?
Well, that's gonna be part of the trip.
I'm just
Property
curious.
line, I assume they go right to the property line, Tim.
That's
Whatever that
what
line
I would think too, so we would have to consider, because that culvert's
is.
there.
Yes, that would be a factor.
That would be an additional cost that we'd have to
It's
figure.
already a goodwill gesture just for the city. I know it's not a lot, but I'll get into the cost in a second. But we, that's what we need to bring up, and of course, as Eric mentioned, you know, it's a major pedestrian hazard there. There's cars parked on both sides, and I actually wouldn't mind seeing no parking on that stretch. And when there's ball games down there, it's just terrible.
It's really
So,
dangerous.
So we
Well,
want
there
to
is no
sign,
parking signs, but not that far down.
It's
They're
not
off
all
to the
of
west.
Pratt.
but if we do get the sidewalks in, I don't want to let
But
any
I
parking
still
on
see
there.
people parking on both sides, so until somebody,
If there are sidewalks, would they become no parking? Would it automatically become no parking?
I would
because
keep
of that?
no parking all on
Yeah,
the north side of the
You know,
street.
you got a whole high school full of parking lot. They can walk the asphalt path.
And
what
that's,
it's for.
was always
It's
the
a
argument. Then I
That's
found
your
out, I find out that the people that started that parking on the road is the coaches.
Yeah,
Okay, let's get back to the
All
sidewalk.
right. So, and the reason I brought this up is if they're there and they're ready to do it, they're quick, they're efficient, they're already laying
There you
them.
go.
We could get a quote from, I could ask Mark and Mike for a solid quote. Larry suggested maybe getting a second quote also, just so, since Bart has some contacts. But I would like to be able to have that ready to go when they're ready to do that, whether it's with them or.
So have we talked to the homeowners to see if they want to?
No, we have not. The homeowners would have to be talked to, but the way I read the ordinance is they really don't have any choice, but I would like to talk to them.
Yeah, I'll
we-
tell you.
We could actually order them to build sidewalks. If I read the ordinance right, I could be wrong, but that's the way I read the ordinance.
Yeah, because you got the right of way it's off the road anyway, so
Right.
it's a right of
Well, out
way.
of courtesy, because they do live across the street from me
Yeah,
too.
and I know you wanna be, but I'll tell you, in my experience in Richmond, on the street that I lived on, the city decided that they were gonna do this. They wanted, it was Fitzgerald Street, and they wanted a sidewalk going all the way down. And the cost of that sidewalk went on to the homeowners. The property owner, it just got, here's what you gotta pay now.
yeah.
And we did have one neighbor down the way, so sidewalk goes here, this neighbor said, I ain't paying for nothing, I don't want that on my property. And so they skipped his property, went to the next property. So now this guy doesn't have a sidewalk in front of his house, but he's got a mud trail. Cause all the kids on their bikes are on the sidewalk, and it's just become, I mean, maybe he didn't wanna pay for it, but you know, it was more about paying for it, and he didn't want nobody going across his yard. What he didn't realize is they're gonna go across it anyway, whether that sidewalk's there or not, you know. But just, that's how they did it there, and if we would do it a different way, it's, you know,
It
whatever.
looks like we can order with those anyway. I don't know,
Yeah.
not that we would, but just to, you know, I looked at the budget, and I'm trying to get a little bit better idea how that works here, and just to put that in perspective, $7,500 or thereabouts, say. Larry can correct me if I'm wrong here, you would know. But, you know, we got 3 different funds going on in the government, I mean, in our budget. And the unrestricted capital, we had like 1,000,003 less positions that were covered, 261, so we had about 881,000 unassigned in that. So out of that general fund, the long and short of it, that amount, if we just did it as a gesture to make our city more walkable and not try to put those homeowners in a corner and beat them up and make them do it, that represents 0.009% of that money that we have in unrestricted funds right now.
This comes out of, actually, some other major street funds.
That'd be major street money.
Well, there's 45,000 in the street fund. I didn't know if that could be, you know, that would tie, like I said, I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure just what's gonna be left in there, because there's money, I can give you the figure that we had at our last audit. However, Boardman Road comes out of that, and there's a few other things come out of that, but I think there'd be enough money in Boardman, in major streets, I'm sorry, to pay for that, so, but, would you like us to go to the DPW committee, and we'll look at it and maybe try to get another quote? Would that be okay? And
Let's do that, because I got a question mark.
yeah, why don't we do that? That's what I
I
think.
believe anything west of Bell River Road is not major street.
It's not a connector?
No,
Oh, I thought that was all major street there.
no.
No,
From
it's
Main
not.
Street to Bell
Oh,
River,
oh,
and
that's-
then Bell River Road is major.
Okay, then
But I think
come up-
anything west of Bell River is considered a local street.
Okay, then.
And I do not have a print here.
Okay, so this is gonna be going to
So
the
we'll-
DPW committee.
Yeah, put it to the DPW,
Yeah.
we'll look at it, okay?
Okay,
All
go
right,
ahead.
all right, I don't know if you need a motion for that or not. I'll make a motion to go to DPW committee,
Support.
which I'm on that, so. I'll take care of it.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Murder, Mazer.
Yes.
Right, yeah, we have an invoice from Apollo, fire and apparatus for $3,003.03.
Right.
Yeah, they wouldn't take the 3 cents off or something.
Need a penny, take a penny. Need 3 pennies? Get a job.
It says here what it was for, so you want me to just make a motion on it?
Sure.
Yeah.
I make a motion to pay this invoice for a total of $3,000.03.
Support.
To Apollo.
Sofa,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Murder,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
I'm trying my best to limp the truck that we're replacing through as much as I can, but
As long as you can. All right, from the mayor,
I have one thing before you end the meeting.
well, go ahead, Bart.
Water main for Lois and Robert is gonna be starting Monday the 11th
Oh, wow.
or Monday the 18th.
Of this month.
What I heard today,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
And the wells, they're fighting, so after that gets done, then the well will start their being pulled.
This month, Art? This month?
Yep.
Probably, yeah, probably,
We're gonna be digging
Gonna
up
be
and putting the mains in?
yes.
Very good. Doing really well. Chamber of Commerce meeting is Tuesday the 12th at 9 a.m. at the Media Center at the school. Correct, Andy?
Correct.
All right.
The media center in the high school? So that's the
It's gonna be in a
library.
classroom.
Oh.
The media center's busy, but they're giving us classroom.
So it'll be at the junior
Telling people where
slash
to
high
go?
school.
Yes,
Okay.
Just
but
go to the office, they'll
they,
tell you where to go.
if you're gonna go, if you would let Tammy know or myself know, the school
What
would
time?
kinda like a list.
What time?
9 AM,
Oh, because it's during the school day?
yes, they would kinda like a list of who's gonna be coming into the school.
How come you guys didn't use like the Lions Hall or whatever, community center? Just wondering.
Okay.
Instead of the school, okay.
Myself, I don't have anything else. It was a good meeting, very productive, probably the longest meeting I've ever seen here for the city. Nothing else for me though, Jason?
I have nothing.
Larry?
Two things, Bell River Road, was probably to start, when school ends, end of June.
Oh, that's, coming out of Riley Township.
Yeah, they'll be doing that. The St. Clair County is handling that, by the way, the
Right.
road commission. And then, I think Bart got information that M19 will be, work done on that from city limits to.
Our north city limits
Yeah,
to, I believe, to 69.
60.
It's supposed to be, I think, resurfacing.
Yeah.
St. Clair County, yeah.
St. Clair County.
Yeah,
Heard anything about going to the.
I'm sure when the weather breaks, whatever happens, they're gonna
They just put out the
continue.
things in Richmond.
Yeah.
They what?
They just put out the cones.
Did they? Okay,
I'm
so,
gonna get started soon.
You mess around here this
Bart,
summer.
when are they gonna do that?
no, I got that mixed up with Bell River Road.
Yes, Bell River Road.
I gotta be honest with you, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember the date, no. But Bell
Okay.
River Road will be done, or starting after school is out, so. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Just a quick mention, I was at a meeting yesterday regarding the windmill thing, and it was St. Clair County GOP thing, it was on the agenda. One of the state reps was there, and they passed along that they gave, Mr. Beeler, I believe is his name for the rep, that they took 3,200 signatures up that day, just from the few that they collected, and looks like it's kind of catching fire. I'm encouraged, you know, we're talking about 500,000 signatures, and St. Clair County's got a very good organization, and they're.
And, yeah, you know, just to touch on it real briefly too, is, you know, you were wondering where it's at, so I have family that lives over, you know, Fowlerville, Howell area, and it was probably 4 months ago, it was the first time I saw signs up there, and I was like, what is this about? So, you know, it's going around.
Gotta go fast, and I'm just wondering if anybody knows anybody in the Upper Peninsula that they can contact right. Do you know about this? Because they're huge up there. Nobody knows up there, nobody. So it's like,
The owners of Sage Creek are all from up there.
Steve, anything else?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I did, but now I lost my train of thought, I'm getting old too, so. But I just wanted to mention that, and look, oh, they were very thankful for the local businesses, that we have more businesses sign up for our little town than anybody else on the,
Yeah.
you know, on the list there, so they were grateful for our support. That's all I had.
Robbie?
I'm good, thank you.
Jim?
Nope.
Eric?
I just want to thank Amber and Donna for getting everything straight for the election. The election's now with the 9 days of early voting.
Oh,
It's going to be nothing but trouble. I can't imagine what it's going to be like in August for the primary. But thankfully we had Donna and Amber to help us through it and get it done. That's all I have. Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
yeah, thank you.
How long did it take you to recover?